Hey, Ghost Machine fans, this one's for you.
Welcome to the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast, episode 86. This time around, a hero responsible for the deaths of many seeks redemption by protecting the innocent. That's right, we're returning to the story of Ash Arden with a release day deep dive into Geiger 19. I'm Snoggle, and as usual, I'm joined by my better half, Nick. Nick, how are you this evening?
I am excited to talk about the return of Ashley Arden and her rise to heroism, in my opinion. It's a really cool thing, and it's a seminal issue. I don't know if that's the appropriate usage of that term, but it's a big deal. And we're going to say why a little bit more when we get to the cover rundown. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. It's like no spoiler alerts at the beginning. No spoilers at the beginning of the episode. But oh man, once we start talking, it's going to be crazy.
I know this issue hits on so many different levels. But before that, I'd like to talk about a shout out as usual to kick things off. Now, this is someone that's been shouted out on the show, but I think it's been well over a year and only once before. And that's Stand It Up Comics on Instagram. It's just like it sounds. So Stand It Up Comics, all one word, on Instagram. I believe you can find that on Facebook too. We have been collaborating with those folks for a long time. If you have seen the Rook Exodus cosplay helmet that the eyes light up that have been in some of the videos and pictures that we've put out, they printed that, and Black Gorilla Armory designed it with them. And they did just send us a recent collaboration video a couple of days ago about their mini helmets. So it's a really funny video. Even if you have no desire to buy Rook Exodus mini helmets, you should go watch what they put together because it's very, very hilarious. But it is a little Rook helmet similar to one that we have and on a wonderful 3D printed stand. And it's about how, you know, if you can get one of them, you probably would want to keep printing Warden helmets. Like, it would be pretty awesome to have a whole bunch of mini Warden helmets for all the characters in Rook Exodus. Like, it'd be really cool to have the full-size ones, but from, logistically, I don't know about that. Definitely feasible to do the smaller ones. And if you're one of those people that likes to, paint the stuff or whatever, you could do that aspect as well. What do you think about the mini Rook Exodus helmet, Snoggle?
I think it's wonderful. And I think you just dropped the biggest, hint. Man, it'd be really great if we have more of those, don't you think?
Well, I think that's what he's saying in his video. He's saying he'll do more. And we've seen that they've printed Swine before and Direwolf before. We have a mini Direwolf and a mini Swine helmet as well. And so I'm sure he's going more with that. So either way, they sell those on Etsy. Stand It Up Comics is known for making comic book stands. They've made a bunch of comic book stands that I've used in videos that say Ghost Machine or Geiger or Redcoat. And they're cool because they're magnetized. And they didn't ask me to say this, by the way. I just think they're neat folks. And so you can swap it out, right? Like you can have different stands with different things. So I know there's lots of interesting companies that do that type of stuff out there on the socials, but Stand It Up Comics, thanks a lot. And Black Gorilla Armory for collaborating with us yet again. Y'all rock. But enough about my friends on the internet, because Snoggle is in the newsroom.
And today is Wednesday, December 10th, which is the release date for Geiger 19, the fine comic which we are reading on this very episode. The next final order cutoff date is December 15th, which is the last day you can pre-order Redcoat 16. If you want to find out what happens with Simon Pure, the happy family man, you'll need to get your hand on that issue. And unrelated, it is also 15 days until Santa comes.
Oh, it is. And there's some additional news related to that.
Oh.
So we did just finish our nuclear winter giveaway week 1. We gave away a Red Coat Volume 1 trade paperback that we mailed to a wonderful fan in Michigan. And we just started 2 days ago on the 8th, because we're doing this every Monday all the way up to the week of Christmas, 4 weeks of giveaways. We started one that's going on right now as you listen to this very podcast, if you're listening to it when it came out. If not, then thanks for hanging out with us in the future. But it will be, this week's one has been going on for a couple of days, and you can enter for a copy of Rook Exodus number 7, but it's the 1 for 20 ratio variant, that direwolf cover that everybody was talking about, that Gary Frank direwolf cover. So 1 for 20 ratio variant, we're giving that bad boy away. And then we're going to do 2 more giveaways every Monday after that. And also, just to let you know, in the holiday spirit, if you take a look at the most recent Ghost Machine Fan Content Friday that we put out a week ago, we did a highlight on a fan creator named Mashup Mel. She's Nick Churton, the famed Nick Churton's mom out there in New Zealand. And she did some really awesome holiday mashups. She's done mashups all year long for us with really cool stuff like the Muppets and Ghost Machine and stuff like that. But she's also recently, she put together like a snowman Simon. There was one of Junkyard Joe decorating the tree. There's one of Matterhorn and her goats chopping down wood for the holiday fire. And there's one of Zach and Rose in a snowball fight. So really cool. Mashup Mel does some fun stuff, and we appreciate you during the nuclear winter holiday special, right?
Great.
Yeah. And we are going to continue talking about things that are radioactive, because now we need to talk about the 4 covers that are available to you if you're going out today to your local comic book shop to pick up your copies of Geiger 19. What's that first cover looking like, Snoggle?
Well, the first cover is Gary Frank and Brad Anderson. You know, we've got Ash. She's standing in front of nuclear green version of herself. I love the molecules in this. And has a look of forlorn.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right word? Forlorn?
Sure. Like she's got brooding, like
brooding,
sorrowful, remorseful, perhaps.
Yes. Yeah, she's not looking happy, and she's holding a chain, which looks like there are broken, handcuffs or cuff, that was keeping someone captive. So we get a cover that's really going to tell us what the book is somewhat about.
Yes. And we do know that she has a specific place in her heart for people that are being trafficked, I think, to an extent, or kidnapped or taken at a young age or something to that extent. And this to me implies this story will connect to that, because the chain isn't just a chain that she's holding. She's holding a chain, the manacle of which is like open, as if she freed the person or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I bet that you're very excited to talk about the B cover.
I am, because of what it means for my favorite comic book publisher more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But why it's not very hard to see who drew this cover. This is the B cover. The signature is down in the bottom right. It's a Jim Lee cover. It's the first time that Jim Lee has done anything related to Ghost Machine. And it's a gorgeous cover. So let's do this. Before we just say it's got to be great because it's Jim Lee, what do you think of the cover in general?
Well, I mean, from my perception, it's perhaps Geiger in the background. I don't know. Do you think those eyes are Geiger or Ashes?
So you're talking about how Ash in the foreground, like the full character of her that's glowing, is drawn in a way with her arms out to where it frames a pair of eyes on a much larger face that is otherwise hidden outside of the eyes and some flesh around the eyes.
Yeah.
And to me, I did ponder that, and my conclusion as well was that is Tariq.
Yeah, I think it's Tariq, and again, we get those lovely little molecule bubbles kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, that background is symbolizing all of the things, whether good or bad, that make up like Tariq's universe.
For sure. I mean, it's a beautiful cover to like summarize the world of the Unnamed.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways, because you've got the kids that he saved in the upper left, one of the two of them. You've got Molotov. You've got the general that we really liked, the female general with the short hair that we were like, oh, she's the real hero. We wanted more of her. Junkyard Joe, Zigzag, the king. So presumably that's the most recent king. Then you've got Nate and Barney, and she's on top of a Nightcrawler. It's a good tapestry of the current world of the Unnamed in that time period in the future.
It's a good use of color too, where we've got the lime green that really pops and, fades into an electric yellow. And then the green that is like the tealish green. Brad Anderson would be like, Becky naming colors right now.
Right.
But the tealish green, it goes from like dark, it's gradient. So it's darker at the top and gets lighter towards the bottom. And I think that looks really good. This will be a nice, put it in one of those little things that you put all your comics in. Whatever those clear boxes are.
They're called slabs. Or you say.
Not trying to say I'm a pro or anything about all things comics.
That's okay. But you pointed out the colors, incredible work by Brad. It is worth noting that this is done by Jim Lee with pencils, Scott Williams with inks, who has been paired with Jim Lee for many, 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 many years, and Brad Anderson colors, whereas we've often seen Jim Lee, Scott Williams, and Alex Sinclair as a trio. In this case, despite Mr. Sinclair's involvement with Devour and Sisterhood, this is the Brad Anderson colored joint. So that's pretty neat. And Brad, obviously, for the first one that we talked about, Gary did his own inks and Brad did the colors on that as well. The third cover, I think, every once in a while we get these kind of artsy, the composition isn't just a character on a page, right? And so I thought this was cool, and it's tough, being the other variant cover in the Jim Lee Geiger issue or whatever. But I really thought that this was a neat cover done by Christian Alami, and with colors by Maury Hollowell. And we have seen the two of them on one or two others. Not very many, but it's like the Geiger skull is floating, but then you see his cloak is on him, but then other than the skull within him, it's like the nuclear explosion. So I like the composition of that.
I like the concept. So what I'm seeing is like, that's what's happening inside him. An explosion at all times. And he had to put the face there. You wouldn't understand that is like inside of Tariq.
And he's always trying to keep it at bay from erupting. Yeah. Great point.
Misery.
He is.
Yeah.
And this last one is the pencils only. It looks like, not even inks. 1 for 50 retailer incentive variant for this comic, which will, by definition, be the most difficult to find copy of it. Now, there aren't any first appearances or anything like that per se in this issue, but it is still a very, very collectible issue, and people are going to snag this Ghost Machine comic. But we're going to move on to non-Jim Lee stuff after this. It really is great for him to do something of this nature, because in and of itself, just like having a McFarlane figure of Geiger, it brings in more people. It brings in an audience that doesn't necessarily know about this stuff. I meet people often that like Jeff Johns comics, or even who have gotten into comics in the last 10 years because of some of the movies. And they've been like, yeah, I really like Jeff Johns. I've read all these Jeff Johns comics. I like DC. This is Jeff Johns guy. And when you tell them, yeah, this person and a whole bunch of his compatriots have put together their own company and they're doing this thing, and there's like 20 issues of some of these books out, like, they have no idea. And at the same time, like, little things like a McFarlane figure or a Jim Lee cover that has a 1 for 50 ratio variant, those things help penetrate that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see so many people pick up these stories and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep reading this. This is really good. Holy cow. Like, story first, but the art's amazing. You know, like, there's so much to say. I'm just really happy to see it. It's awesome. Yeah. You know, you got stuff like this going on, and then we got a Redcoat movie. Like, it's so great to see the momentum being where it is. So, very cool cover.
Agreed.
And it is fun to see it without the colors and inks, because when you look at, like, oh wow, a person did that with a pencil. Ooh, that's pretty good.
It's called the Virgin Pencil variant.
So those are the covers you can pick up if you go get your copy of Geiger 19. I would wager to say that most LCSs will not have any of those 1 for 50 ratio variants left. But if you got your hot little hands on them and want to tell us a story, feel free to email us at ghostmachinefans@gmail.com. And that makes this your official spoiler pause. All right, we're back to the future of post-apocalyptic world of the Unnamed. Snoggle, can you give us a creator roll call?
I will. We've got our creators, Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, our color artiste, which is Brad Anderson, and our king of letters, Rob Lee.
Rob Lee! I feel like we need a Rob Lee sound, because calling him the king of letters, like, people will appreciate that, you know, but we need like a Rob Lee fanfare sound.
No, it would just have to be letters that don't really make a traditional sound. You're just supposed to feel it.
Oh, that's good. Or like a cacophony of totally unrelated sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Would be the only way to do a testament to the symphonic tapestry that is Rob Lee's portfolio and body of work.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive right in. I alluded it to already, but these first couple of scenes, what is going on here? Looks like there's some women and children.
We begin our journey of this 19th issue of Geiger with a very sad-looking situation. First panel, the world's a frightening place full of frightening things. And just seeing this group of, we've got children. Everyone looks pretty distraught. And then we flash to, shocker, bad men. Yeah, they're bad dudes.
Yeah, so some super gross people, gross dudes counting money, talking about the people that they're selling and trafficking, who appear to be in the back of this truck. And then along comes Ashley Arden, very cinematically running at them, pulling her boron rods out and transforming. And this is also what helps us become aware of the fact that first panel of narration that's in like a radioactive color, where she said the world's a frightening place full of frightening things, it helps us realize that that is her narrating for us, because the second page is a full vertical splash page, amazing page by Gary, with her jumping at the vehicle. Looks like she's about to stab the windshield with the rods, and she's fully transformed. And in the moment, he's like dropping the cash. It's just very alive, a very alive still image that Gary chose. And she says, "You adapt or you die." So I adapt, they die. And it's still her speed, which is like vengeance and darkness and no mercy.
No mercy.
Not that I would have any mercy for people that did this either. I don't blame her at all, but I just think it goes along with her way of interacting with others, I suppose. But you like they get jarred because of her running into it, and then they see her hands come out and she frees them, and it's really cool, really poetic how like she grabs the chain and she has enough control of her power to light her arm up just enough to melt it and then recede that. So right there, she does have a significantly stronger control of her power than Tariq. Like that's superhero stuff. Like that's very like, ooh, radioactive lady. That was cool. And she does explain that as the truck is burning and she clearly freed them and all that she as a child went through a similar experience, but that she's now the glowing woman and she considers herself the light in the darkness because she has found a purpose.
I like this version of just a stripped down look of her face, very stoic, without the glow or anything, the hood on, just truly looks like a normal, pretty wise woman when she's in the panel where she says, "I am the glowing woman."
And you got to think it takes a lot of talent with color to be able to see the flames going off her face in a still image. And like that's pretty good. It's neat whatever Brad does to make the ash look like almost real fire. No pun intended, like the ash from the fire and the whatnot. And then like her skin tone, how it fluctuates. You can even see like the glow of the fire in her pupils. Just wild stuff, man. But how do you feel about, right away, this is setting the tone that she has a purpose and it is to be a light in the darkness. This isn't exactly the person that she was in Montana.
That's true. But as she said in the beginning,
She adapted.
You adapt or you die. So I adapt and they die.
Well, it makes sense because it's not entertaining. Because for a while we were like, we don't like her. What the heck? Why is she willing to kill like an entire town just to this and that? Because she thought it was going to finally like stop her from having this. And then she had to go back to it to really do the right thing and all this kind of stuff. And Tariq. And so she didn't seem like she was going to come out from it as an altruistic or heroic person. And it's more interesting for somebody to have really messed up and have had to take a better path and change and evolve as a character, a person, etc., than if it was always like, yeah, in the desert, Tariq found a glowing lady and she was really positive and nice. So she taught him Jedi powers and then they all won. It was good. Like that wouldn't be a good story. So
she taught him to love again. And then they have glow babies.
That's what you would think, right? Like that's what we should start naming the episodes after the best line in that particular episode. And this one would be episode 86, Glow Babies.
I feel like because it is the world of the mutated, maybe when they're babies they look like those little glowworms we used to have in the 80s.
Oh, those were popular.
They were popular. But then we get the chance to see her doing a little bit of investigating because she freed these kids, killed the two bad guys, but she's not going to stop there. She needs to know the entire situation. And of course, like, everyone's very forthcoming about, hey, you know, they were going to take them to St. Louis. And about a half hour before that, they sold, you know, a little boy's sister to someone else.
And that's what the super horrendous person in the beginning counting the money was like. Basically, that's what he was talking about. And so the conclusion is they're going to go get her, right? And
yeah,
even like the boy that saw it, he said he was wearing a cowboy hat. He had a big gun, but it really transitions well. I know Jeff writes most of the comics that we read and talk about, but this comic seemed to be written very thoughtfully.
Yeah, this entire, I completely agree with you because, you know, we get, after it's very clear, you know, what's your sister's name, we, upon a scene of said sister getting sold again to somebody else. They're going to do bad things to this girl. We'll just keep it at that. The man with the cowboy hat is selling her to someone else. We get another page and he's asking for a lot for I guess it is a human, right? But 10 ARs and 300 rounds. So he's actually asking for a lot of weapons. Okay, cowboy. But like the fact that he's like, well, why is this girl even worth it? He's like, check her out yourself. We get a frame of her being thrown. And the cowboy says, I haven't even gotten a chance. She's fresh stock, untouched. Ugh, just gross. Like the panel where the guy who's like gonna buy him says that's so. Oh, right? Weren't you just, this whole thing is cringe.
It's horrible. It's very well written, a great story, and incredibly but yeah, because Gary had to take a minute and say, I need to draw the face of a man who's pleased with the prospect of taking advantage of a young girl who has never experienced that before. And that's so Gary had to be like, I need to draw the face of evil now.
Yeah, that man is evil.
And Jeff had to think, I need to write the voice of evil now. And that's why this whole thing is so horrendous. But it's horrendous because it's very matter of fact in that humanity would behave this way in this environment. And it retains its taste because it doesn't, it in and of itself is abhorrent. And it doesn't need to, like Black Mirror, that show or whatever, always has to take you to the actual thing instead of like making you think about the thing. And this makes you think about the thing. And I mean, they get pretty darn close to showing you the thing, but thankfully that we don't get to that point because
the thing.
Yeah, horrible stuff.
I know.
It's even harder to think about once you have a child. So, and which obviously we do. So, but I just love it. I love how he changes the tone. I love how it's like evil gets this close to doing this absolutely horrendous, horrible thing. And then the wall begins to melt with these awesome, like, I guess it's not written hiss. It's all S's, but it's like, I imagine it as like a radioactive melting hissing sound that Rob puts in there. And it's that sound of the wall melting as ash comes through, and then just this quick CHAK, the sound of someone grabbing the firearm, then a bunch of shots, and then this is only comics. I don't care. You can't tell me a movie because a movie can make a cut, but it can't do this in the same way. because only comics is that panel where you've got the bad guy and the blam 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 blam, and then the next one is a full vertical splash page of Ash transformed, walking through the wall, and she says, "Shoot me again, please."
Yeah, it's pretty dope. Follows it up with, "What are you waiting for? Shoot me."
Oh, and he even does though, and they just melt, and he keeps going until he's
And how smart
empty.
I love the fact that it provokes him to do it. And she did that on purpose because she wanted him to get out of bullets. You can't do what you monsters usually do. Turn the gun on the kid, threaten their life if I come any closer. Like, that means she's done this enough that she knows. And I love this, after this whole interaction, we get this where he's like stunned because she's starting to touch him and touch the gun. And he obviously has a look of horror. And she goes, "Come here, hug me instead." Like, "Hey, creep."
And yeah, and she basically makes him combust.
And then she turns back completely normal and looks at the girl and goes, "Your brother sent me." Like, I love it.
This is where there's a lot to what you get with somebody like Gary Frank, and it's kind of mind blowing. This is a comic book that's like the same price of other comics, if not less expensive than it. You have a panel with the scared young girl, and like she's very upset, and then the glow, and then the what you just said, and then the panel after that is the girl relieved, and we only know that she's relieved because her eyes take on a different glassy glint that's not sadness, it's like happiness, and he upturns her like because you only see like half of her face, but he upturns her right cheek just enough to show enough of a dimple that you're like, okay, she's expressing positive emotions now. Like, that's not common in this medium.
Mm-hmm. I really like this woman now. And the story continues in her favor. Well, in some point, there's something I don't love about this path she went on. But the kids are waiting for her. And one of the kids says, "You really think she's coming back?" And the other, "Well, why would she?" And I do really love that the young boy who's waiting for his sister said, "Because she said she would." And then we see the truck lights and like her getting out of the truck. I mean, come on. Amazing storytelling. So these kids love her now. They're like, "Queen Ash, we will follow you."
So it's a little more world building, right? Because she mentions that she knows they were going to be taken to St. Louis to someplace run by the auctioneer. And that's very unnamedy, right? We've had a bunch of those, the electrician, the auctioneer, etc. And why one of the other kids is like, "Why would we go there?" Because she's saying that we're going to go there. And then she shows them all the weapons, and she makes a point of saying that she's not going to protect them. She's going to teach them how to protect themselves. And that is really cool. You know, I'm partial to the don't just catch them a fish, teach them how to fish type of management style, and that's what Ashley's all about too, and that's great.
Yeah.
And they're going to we see the arch in St. Louis, which is it's neat. It's like, oh, the arch is still there, and that helps you identify the city in a cooler way. And right away, you got a guy on top of a thing, and he's talking to different people and talking about bidders, and then they're like ferrying in human beings that are going to obviously be bid on, and there's like chairs for this reprehensible activity, and they're posted up not far away, like they're getting ready to attack or something.
He does look like a very evil man as well. Wearing a bolo tie in St. Louis. Come on.
Yeah, that is bold. And he has a red suit with like a yellowish shirt. It looks very, very evil. It makes you wonder what their currency, I guess, is dollars, but they start the bidding at this thing at 5,000, and then I think to me it looked like the first person. There's a couple of different people that put their things up to bid more, but the guy that says 7, he's mine for 7. That
Uncle
guy,
Fester looking dude.
yeah, or maybe he works at the Karloff or something. Like remember that casino, that one. I just thought that guy he stuck out to me. But also the guy right next to him looks like he might work at Safari Bob's because he's got that hat. I don't know, who knows. But it's not the first time this has happened, and I it's kind of a funny thing to say, but Gary Frank has a thing about when somebody's going to get shot through the head, they're going to look at the camera when it happens. This happens in Junkyard Joe as well. Just like that, because you get this perfect shot of the character talking, which is the auctioneer talking about the bidding. And then the next panel is just a bullet going through the guy's head and then him falling down.
Yeah, it's nuts. And then calamity begins. You just blam, 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 blam. Where are they? I do love, like, you've got one of the kids has a bazooka. Where do I aim it? Like, I love that we're just somewhere nearby was the direction. Shot the bazooka, okay.
And as soon as they run up to their friend, they're like, "Don't worry, it's not. Hey, we missed you," or "Hey, it's don't worry, we have a gun for you too." That's the first thing they say to him. I really thought that was funny. But then it's like the bookkeeper looking guy because he's got a pile of papers or whatever. He's trying to get away and doesn't make it. And this line is just like, "Dang, Jeff, ooh." When
you're lucky the children are going to do it. It would be slower if it were me. That's great.
And then we get not the actual epilogue, because there is an actual epilogue, but her epilogue, which is essentially that she continues to do this good work. But then the theme is that she goes and does these things. It doesn't always result in, like happy resolution. At one point we see this panel of somebody standing outside of a house, and the house has got all this glowing radiation. And Ash says, "I free a girl from an abusive home, blinding her parents with my light. The daughter begs me to leave them alive, but I don't. She hates me for it. Maybe she'll understand one day, maybe not." So she's still a very doing this particular good activity because of this abused / whatever sector of post-apocalyptic society, kids and innocent people that are being trafficked. They need help, but it's still her recognizing that she is a dark part of this world. She says, "I gave children guns. I don't know if that makes me a savior or just another monster."
Yeah, it looks great.
And it is a great looking
to end on that and great looking panel. But we're not done.
Oh no.
Oh no. We've got a epilogue.
And here's where, if this were to be read aloud, it would be really significant. We see black panel, and then a panel coming to be, but it's through the eyes of a viewfinder. And it's a very futuristic binoculars times 12 viewfinder.
Before I read the words, we've got Junkyard Joe, so I wasn't quite certain if this would be if it was Junkyard Joe, another robot, whatever. And when I knew it wasn't another robot, was the last thing that the individual says. And when it comes to me, well, forever is quite literal.
So my question to you is, how much better does it make this part, even though I always talk about how comics are the best medium, if as soon as it started, it was like, "I thought I was tracking the glowing man, but here I find myself staring at a woman who strangely shares his radioactive affliction." Would you get excited?
Oh, of course.
I would get pretty excited. And even the font though, and the papery boxes that Rob uses in Redcoat, it all comes together now in retrospect, because this last page of this issue is just so great, because it's like, all right, cool, we knocked out so much, and we're getting back to that moment when he's got that mask and that pair of binoculars, baby, because we want to know why he was in Boston, and we want to know how he met Nate, etc. And it's great to see. My name is Simon Pure, though I'm anything but, as you'll come to know, on another comic.
Yeah, pretty exciting. And he's after Tariq. I am so intrigued. I'm very, very excited. Because, of course, there's a price on Tariq's head.
And it even says the end and the beginning. The bio page is fun, though, because it's very, I don't know, it made me feel like it was an 80s movie. The St. Louis Strays, it's the kids that now like run St. Louis, and they've even got this like cool little coat of the Strays. And
one of them is named Gremlin, just so we're on the same page.
And it wraps up by saying, some say they worship Ashley Arden. Others say they don't believe in heroes, but they know what one looks like because she taught them to become their own. And hey. Yeah, well, it makes you think maybe she created a generation that'll create a better generation after.
Yeah, that's cool.
Even though
I like it.
She questions the morality of some of the things she's done, obviously, and
which I actually agree with. I don't know if you picked up what I was putting down, but giving the kids the guns, I'm like, no. But I get it. I mean, there are a lot of bad people out there. It's just very hard to imagine that that's the world where kids have to be doing that.
Oh, totally. But it's probably more responsible than putting them all in a truck and driving them out to some area where the bad guys aren't, and just giving them a bunch of resources and telling them you'll be okay. Really great issue of the series, though. The preview for the next one shows Geiger interacting with the Northerner, so we're going to take that to the next level, too. Couldn't be more excited about that. But that's not all for the 86th episode of the Ghost Machine Fans podcast, because we have a listener mail it's a little different this time. As we often say, we would love comments and questions and whatnot. And this time we actually got a comment on our
fantastic comment.
That's right. It's a fantastic comment. And it was on our YouTube. A lot of people don't realize, or may not realize, that this is on YouTube. It's like a YouTube Shorts thing. Like, we have our podcast connected to that. So it's still audio, but we put like the promo reels on the YouTube as well. And there is somebody that has made a couple of fun and helpful comments on some of the recent episodes. And so when we did the episode about the last issue of Redcoat, this person had made an observation when we were talking about the fact that in the 1909 flashback in earlier issues of the series, we only see Simon with one coffin, even though in the current series, like right now, the arc going on, he has 2 children and a wife. So would you like to read it?
Yeah, sure. Our fantastic comment is from Harley Me 235. And they simply stated, one of the apples on the back cover of Redcoat 9 shows Simon and Albert in front of 2 graves. That's 2.
It is. And if you go look at that apple, so first of all, thank you for the observation. I don't know, I can't tell you how happy it makes me to know that someone went and listened to us talk about this thing that we all love, and paid that much attention to then make this observation, because it allows us to collaborate on this and talk about it. So it's significant observation, because if you go look at that back cover that Harley Me 235 is talking about, it is Einstein at the age that he would be at in the current 1909 thing. So it narrows it down pretty well. that it is likely that that those graves are the people he lost or whatever. In the other panel, it's just one coffin at what we think is a funeral and Simon looking upset. So there's a couple of things. Either one of his children lived or his wife lived and survived whatever happened. If it was one of the children, it makes you wonder if he bore a child after gaining immortality, would it at all be possible for his child to somehow gain immortality because of that? Probably not, because it was magical, but it just makes you wonder.
Is it making a child magical?
Totally, right? And so it's like, well, I guess this could be as simple as, I doubt this, but it could be as simple as maybe one grave was for his wife, the other grave was for his two kids. But I would think that the kids would each get their own grave. So to me, it really makes me wonder, out of whatever this horrible thing is going to be that happens that involves Benedict Arnold and Albert Einstein, two people are going to die, at least, based on that observation. And it just makes me wonder if Simon has either a child or somebody that survived it.
It could be his wife and Benedict Arnold.
Yeah, and then both of his kids survived.
Yeah, maybe. I guess we'll find out.
It would be neat if Simon did have a surviving child somehow. And maybe not immortal, but maybe the Numenor in Lord of the Rings, the greater humans that like Aragorn, they live in the 150s or 200s or something. It would be neat if a little bit of the immortality had rubbed off. And so the one kid, yeah. But anyway, we will have to see. And coming soon is another issue of Red Code. So we're going to find out something about that story very soon.
Yeah, I'm excited.
And if you would love to leave us comments like that, you can check out our YouTube channel where all of our episodes and promo videos go. Or you can email us at ghostmachinefans@gmail.com. And if you'd like to check out all of our other content, you can do so by going to www.ghostmachinefans.com, where you'll find our wiki and all of our social platforms. If you go to our Instagram profile or to the announcements on the Ghost Machine Comics Reddit, you'll be able to find the invite to Discord, where we would love for you to come join the conversation. Also, we have recently been posting reading orders both in publication and chronological order. So if you want to read the Unnamed in the order that it was printed, you can go to our guide on Discord to be able to do that. If you would rather read the Unnamed in the order of chronology, as far as we can tell, actual years, then we have pretty soon, then we have a reading order for that as well. So lots of fun stuff going on over there. Make sure to join the conversation. We even have fun little ghost machine emojis. You can put a Simon Pure face or a Geiger face with your message. And it's very, very neat. I don't know how we did that, but we did it. And Flashy Transition 737 did a great job.
And thanks for joining us tonight on the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast.
Was a very metal anti-hero podcast.